Let's take care of this next question, where the first thing we look at is the question sentence. And it says clearly that we want the total weight, but even more clearly and specifically, we want the total weight here in pounds. We want it in pounds. So let's go ahead and just understand what we're going to need to do. And then I'm going to show you, for those of us here that spend a lot of time worrying about the actual calculation before you actually do it, I'm going to show you how sometimes you overthink. Just going to show you how overthinking can happen in a problem like this. So here we go. We want the total weight, but again, in pounds. And so let's take a look at the information we're given. A pantry stores 16 cans, each weighing 24 ounces. Okay, so we have each can equals 24 ounces, and we have 16 cans. Everybody, quick question. If we have 24 ounces per can, and we have 16 of these cans, what operation do we commit to in order to get the total weight? How do we get the grand total using those two values? That's going to be multiplication, correct? Because again, each can is 24 ounces. The word each, it tells you to multiply or divide. And we know it's multiplication because we're trying to get the total weight. If we already had the total and we were trying to get down to the weight of each can or the number of cans, that would be division. So there we go. We are going to multiply. But everybody, before we actually multiply, before we do the 24 ounces multiplied by the 16 cans to get the total weight, tell me this, everybody. What is the unit that we're going to get at the end? We are going to get the total weight as this. If we do it like that, we would get what? Yeah, we would get ounces. I don't know what that number is yet, but we would get ounces. Is that what we were asked to do, everybody? No, we want the weight in pounds. Take a look right there. We want the weight in pounds. So everyone, is this enough? It's not. We've just identified that. But what is the correct next step? So let's compare here. 1 pound, everybody, is how many ounces? 1 pound equals 16 ounces, correct. And then from there, how do we convert ounces to pounds? Small unit to a big. So what would we do? Yeah, we would divide by the 16. From ounces to pounds, we would divide by 16. So everyone, take a look. I'm going to take a moment, a rather long moment, but I'm going to take a moment here to show that division of 16. Everybody, there's a magical C word that happens when we have fractions with the same number on the top and the bottom. What's that C word going to be? Yeah, cancel. Everybody, do we see that if we multiply by 16 and then divide by 16, do we notice that the 16s would cancel? Do we notice that? Yeah, ... Because anyone here who might have been, a little anxious about multiplying, you might have been so anxious that you didn't realize that we were multiplying and dividing by 16 in one go, which means you never had to divide to begin with. And there we go. The correct answer here would be answer choice C, 24. And this is one of those problems that you may get incorrect because of overthinking, and it's much easier if you lay out the plan first. Oh, I'm going to multiply by 16 and then convert to divide by 16? Oh, that's cancellation right there. And so that will definitely give you more time to deal with those other questions on your test if you notice some of these conveniences. And let's tackle this next one where we are solving for x and we have a parentheses, but other than the parentheses, there's nothing else really that's going to be, stopping us from doing our best here. Because when I want to get rid of this parentheses, we can do that a couple of different ways, but I'll go with the simplest way. Simplest way for me is going to be distribution. I'll show you another way here at the end, but if I distribute, I'll be distributing to the 3x, and I'll be distributing to the 4. So if I do it that way, I'll have 6 times 3x, which turns out to be 18x, and then we have 6 times 4, which ends up being 24. We'll write everything else that we have. This is unaffected. That is not inside the parentheses. So unaffected plus 6 equals 786. Up next, one thing I notice is I can go ahead and combine some like terms. I have 24 plus 6. I'll bring those together. And so that makes it 18x plus 30 equals 786. And from here, although the numbers are larger, we're good. Just treat this like it's a regular two-step equation. So we'll continue by subtracting 30 on both sides. Cancels on the left, leaving me with 18x equals 756. From here, we can complete this with long division by dividing both sides by 18. And if I do that here, we have 18 going into 756. So first question is 18 going into 75. How many times does that happen? I would beg to guess perhaps that's going to be 4, maybe. Let's go ahead and try that out. Let's guess. 18 times 4, 8 times 4 is 32. 1 times 4 is 4, carry the 3 is 7. So yep, right there, that is going to be 4. And so we will subtract the 72, giving us 3 left over, and then we drop that 6. From here, we ask ourselves how many times 18 goes into 36, and that would be 2. 18 times 2 is 36. So we're good on that front. So there we are. We have ourselves x equals 42 as our final answer, and that's what would get us answer choice B. Now, if I wanted to show you again a potentially faster way to get this done, the only thing that this would save you time on is dealing with this pretty big, large, long division here. Let me show you the time that you'd be saving, which isn't much time at all in the grand scheme. So let's move this over here. And here's what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and divide both sides by the 6 immediately. This 6 right here, I'm going to divide both sides. So I can choose to just write this as one big fraction, but I think we all know that if I did 1 plus 2 divided by, let's say, 5, everybody, that's the same as 1 divided by 5 plus 2 divided by 5. So I'm going to show you that exact principle in a moment. So I'll go ahead and get rid of that and just show both of them separately divided by 6. This is going to help us out. Let me just move this over here. This is going to help us out greatly because we're going to cancel out right there. The 6 divided by 6 right there turns into 1. So we have 3x plus 4 plus the 1 right here. And then we have 786 divided by 6. So we still have to do a bunch of long division, right? Still have to do a bunch of long division. And so if we do that, we're going to go ahead and just show it. 786. 6 goes into 7 once. Into 18 3 times. And into 6 once. So that becomes 131. And then we add these together to get 3x plus 5. Subtract the 5. And then divide by 3. And there it is. So, right, it can still be done using that method. We got the same correct answer, 42. But it really is up to you on whether or not you want to go with one method or another, because you have to be careful about following the proper rules. How to divide or multiply the entire side when you have multiple terms, way too important. But nonetheless, the correct answer here is B.